aviation and a century prior to the advent of television, a country and its pastime came together here in a place which will again be a setting for an historic mix of society and sport.
Ottawa Senators? Well, the Ottawa Senators were a hockey club, an amateur hockey club back in the day, which was essentially founded in the early 1890s.
You know, the Ottawa Senators have a great history in the National Hockey League. They won 9 Stanley Cups, although there's some debate that there might be a couple more, so maybe they won 11. And it has a great history and tradition.
Sports drives the market. Sports drives interest. Sports drives passion. It drives, and ultimately that can drive dollars. And at the end of the day, what they discovered years ago was that it was a good thing to have a professional sports team. So the Senators, from a very significant historical perspective, even from a city of Ottawa perspective, had a huge impact.
For the first time in modern history, Sidney Bob Wachaka, who gets the shutout. What a performance by the Ottawa Senators. 8th place for sure, and maybe even 7th. Gord, we may have witnessed a first-round playoff matchup right here tonight. This scares 10-0 into the Buffalo Sabres.
Well, the stock market crashed in December of '29. It's a fairly significant world event. And the finances of the ownership at that time, as they did in other markets, fell into unfortunately bankruptcy, disfavor, ran afoul of a number of very difficult scenarios where it just became impossible to run the franchise. They suspended operations for a year, came back, and then decided at that point that they were unable to continue. And then they sold their interests to an ownership group in St. Louis in 1934, where they operated as one season as a team called the St. Louis Eagles. And at the conclusion of 34-35, that franchise ceased to be.
One governor came up to me and said, "Bruce, you'll never, ever, ever get a hockey team in Ottawa."
A lot of the story has to do with luck, charm, fluke. And I suspect that a lot of people down the line will say, don't forget those 3 guys from Ottawa. They went out and got an NHL franchise.
Really, my first job as a CA was working for Bruce Firestone in real estate development, and worked for Bruce for about almost 3 years, and then he had the idea to to pursue an NHL franchise, and so I guess ever since then I've been either pursuing or involved with an NHL team. When we were working together, we played hockey on a regular basis, so we had a regular game of pickup every Saturday morning.
And after one game at the old Lions Arena here in Ottawa, I said to Cyril and Randy, just hang back.
Playing pickup hockey one day, Bruce launched the idea that he wanted to pursue an NHL expansion franchise. We were young and probably naive and full of enthusiasm, and we said, why not? Let's give it a go.
And Randy Sexton right away got up and said, yeah, let's do it. I mean, he's an MBA from Clarkson and a hockey guy, and he was really super enthusiastic. But Cyril's a little bit more cautious, and he's a CA, chartered accountant, and he said, well, wait a second, how much is this going to cost?
But I guess the accountant in me said, better do some work here before we get too carried away. And it didn't take too long at my end, having done some review of what the teams were doing, the new arenas they were building, to figure out that Bruce was right, that the city could support a team, and that we should be chasing after a team for Ottawa.
3 young entrepreneurs announced their intentions to bring NHL hockey back to Ottawa. With an 88-year-old Frank Finnegan by their side, Bruce Firestone, Randy Sexton, and Cyril Leeder launched their campaign.
Well, I was probably one of the very few that happened to think that Ottawa could support a major league team, an NHL team.
We really felt that we first needed to have some credibility behind it, because the first question going to be asked was, well, who are these guys and who's Terrace Investments? And we didn't have a high profile in the city, and we really wanted to make sure we made that first step forward with something behind us. So Bruce was convinced, and again I think he was right, that we needed to have a site assembled where we were going to build the arena and sort of make that our home.
So we had been thinking about it from 1987 to 1990. We had been buying some land, about 600 acres of land in Canada, which is now part of Ottawa. And so we announced it to the community, and right away there was both surprise, delight, and skepticism.
So we're about 12 miles from the downtown core.
So there's lots of critics. that thought that Ottawa can't do it, and we wouldn't get a team, and we're wasting our time. And
Ottawa's too small. Why would the NHL come here? Ottawa's Canada. Why would they come here? Who are you guys?
I had no qualms at all about telling anybody that I didn't see a hope in hell that they would get a franchise.
A lot more excuses why we couldn't get a team than reasons to get behind and support it.
It just seemed like it was just so far-fetched at the time.
When in reality, everything that they poo-pooed, quite candidly, worked to our advantage. Hockey is Canada.
2 years after they announced their intentions, it was now time to find out if the hard work had paid off. Terrace officials traveled to Palm Beach, Florida to meet with the Board of Governors.
We had made a presentation. We knew we had made some great points. We knew we had good momentum. We knew we believe we're going to be successful, but until you actually hear the word, we're going to grant you a franchise, you never really know for sure.
We'd made our presentation the day before. I really felt that day that we would be called back in for a second round of questioning.
I got a note in my mailbox at the Breakers Hotel saying, have everybody assembled at 1 p.m. So, as you can imagine, the tension and the anxiety was fairly high. So Bruce went for a jog. Jim Durrell, at the time the mayor, was out walking on the golf course.
And they said the Board of Governors have requested we be there at 1:15.
Bruce said, guys, we gave it a great go, but I really don't think we're going to be successful.
So I said to the group, I said, it doesn't look very good. If we haven't been successful, we'll thank the National Hockey League for the opportunity to be a bidder. And then we'll have our own press conference, and in a true Canadian kind of fashion, we'll say, well, we weren't successful today, but there'll be another winter meeting next year, and we're going to come back.
Beginning in the 1992-93 season, to the applicants representing the City of Ottawa. We wanted to bring back the Senators over 2 years ago. Myself and a couple of my young staff, Cyril, Leeder, and Randy Sexton and I, thought that it might be time to bring the Ottawa Senators back after nearly 60 years.
It's fantastic. I am speechless. I really am. I'm so fired up. This is the biggest thing that has ever happened to the city of Ottawa, other than being named the capital in 1857.
CBC Sports is proud to present.
Nobody really thought we could do it except us. And the only way, some of those difficult days, the only way we could get through it was sticking together and believing we're not backing down from anybody or anything. We're going to make this happen.
And for all the difficulties of bringing people into the building, you just can't beat the excitement that we're going to enjoy here tonight.
It's touched the community in many different ways. I remember one of our original partners was Joe Aegis, was a very successful Ottawa businessman. And when I asked him why he was investing, he said, I don't expect to ever get a nickel of return, but I go to Florida every year, and it drives me crazy when I pull up a chair by the pool, somebody asks me where I'm from, and I say Ottawa, and they don't know where that is. And after we got the franchise, I was at my desk, the phone rang. He said, Randy, it's Joe Aegis. I said, Joe, how are you? He said, great. I just wanted to tell you, I just got to Florida. I said, that's great, Joe. Everything okay? He said, it gets better. The guy pulled up a chair beside me. He asked where I was from. When I told him Ottawa, he said, hey, didn't you guys just get those Senators? And he said, I don't care if I ever get a nickel of return on my investment. I accomplished what I want to accomplish.